You know what time it is. It's good, y'all. Gen Sports Corner back at you for 10-10-2020. 444 Sports. You know, it's all Philadelphia sports all day long. We're going to be talking about them Philadelphia Flyers, their recent draft this Wednesday, as well as the Doc landing in town, going to take over for the Sixers. Let's get into it. I'm going to keep this real brief. First off, let's go into the Flyers. Just had their 2020 draft this Wednesday. As you know, if you're a Flyers fan, and you know, it's a lot of back and forth about who's a real Flyers fan, a hockey fan, and this, that, and the third. But with the first pick in the NHL draft for the Flyers, first round, 23rd overall, right winger Tyson Foerster, 6'2", 194 pounds, from the Barrie Colts in the OHL. Look, I'll put it like this. They say he's a shoot-first sniper. If you go ahead and look at the footage on this guy, he's not afraid to shoot the puck. He's not afraid to take the shot when it's given to him. Now, there's been a lot of criticism about him, that he's played with guys that are veterans, guys that are able to assist the puck to him, to give him situations where he's able to score in relatively easy scenarios. That may be true. What I do know is he has a really good slap shot. Some people compare him to TJ Oshie. You know, you can decide for yourself whether you feel as though that's an accurate comparison. But what I see on the film is a guy that is able to not only create goals with his shot, but also create shots with his passes. All right. And when I say create shots with his passes, you know, he'll get the shot at the point, pass it over to a teammate, and the teammate has a wide open pass because his vision was so good prior to the pass. And I don't think that's something you can necessarily teach. Now, I think one of the deficiencies in this game is obviously the defense that can improve his skating, and that's something that scouts have mentioned. But that's something that can improve with time. You're talking about a guy that's, what is he? They're not saying his age here. Yeah, they're not saying his age here. But I'm guessing he can't be, you know, from what I remember reading on one of the other scouting reports, I'm thinking he's around like 20 or 21. So he has room to grow and learn and develop. So, you know, look at a guy like Ivan Provorov, who's one of the top defensemen for the Flyers right now. The Flyers drafted him when he was like 19 years old, you know, fresh out of Russia. You know, really top prospect. Really had a really good slap shot, really good defense. And you're talking about a guy that had a high hockey IQ. So with Foerster, I think there's a reason why a guy is drafted at the 23rd, not at the first, right? But I think that it really comes down to how good your organization is and how well you can develop a guy. Because I mean, you can look at a guy like Taves from the Chicago Blackhawks. There are a lot of guys. There's another guy. Man, there are a lot of guys that aren't drafted high, and this isn't just in hockey. This is in a lot of sports. They're not drafted high, and I'm not talking about later rounds. I mean in the first round. That they have the skill set to be an elite player, but it really depends on what organization they go to. If you go to an organization that's really rebuilding and doesn't have a lot of pieces around you, and not just a lot of pieces around you, but a good coaching staff and a good organization to build you and help you grow as a player, not just as a player, but as a person, then that can really be the difference between you being an elite player, Hall of Fame player, or being an average to below average player. It really is that fine line you're walking. And I don't think people have a true appreciation for that. So I believe that this Flyers organization, God bless his soul with Ed Snyder, but Ed Snyder with Paul Holmgren, that that tree of within the organization developing players, I don't think was the best setup for guys to develop. Now the Claude Giroux's, he made it, but that's I don't think that's the norm within this organization. So hopefully our new GM is able to make a change and hope and Ron Hextall was, in my opinion, the right guy to make it happen. It was unfortunate that he wasn't given the chance. I think he was here for 4, maybe 5 years. I'm gonna say 4 years, but he wasn't given the chance to really develop this team into a contender like he was with the LA Kings, where I think it was 3 or 4 years where he was able to take guys and really develop them along with Mike Richards and damn, that's crazy. I'm forgetting the other forward, which was the integral part of that team that came from the Flyers in that trade. But he really developed that team from the ground up, and he didn't really get the chance to do that to do that with the Flyers. But I believe that this team, along with Billy Lanyo, he's developed those players so far, and if you add pieces along with Nolan Patrick, who hopefully should be coming back healthy, I believe that you'll have the chance to compete not just now, but 2 to 3 years into the future. That's a pretty big window. It may not sound like a long time, but in the sports world, that is an eternity. 1 year may sound like an eternity. I'm telling you, it's not. 1 year, it might seem like a flash in the pan. That is a long time. All right, because some teams don't even make it through a half a season. They might have a hot run and then they're done. Like if you have a 2 to 3 year run where you're legitimate title contenders, you have to take that and run with it. Okay, and when that run is up, you have to recognize it as a GM and be able to replenish the stock. And hopefully, this draft pick right here, Foerster, he's the beginning of a lot of good players coming into this farm system, and then coming into the starting lineup for the Flyers. Because you look at Voracek, you look at Giroux, you don't, maybe you have two years left at an elite level, maybe 1 year left. So you have to really figure out where you're going to go from that point on. So hopefully Foerster, Nolan Patrick, Ivan Provorov, a lot of these guys can step up and really be the leaders for 2021, 22, 23, and so on. So that's the way I see it with the Flyers right now. And I'm actually looking through their draft picks right here. Their second round draft pick, 54th overall, Emil Andre, defensive man. Left-handed, 5'8", 181. Now, it's not a surprise that the Flyers took their first round pick and put it into a forward, okay? Because they went defense heavy last year because they were really like there. You had Sanheim and Haig and some of those other guys coming up, but you really were really weak with your defensive men. So they had to really stock up on that. So I wasn't surprised, and I actually expected them to come out and address the forwards coming forward. No pun intended. You have Scotty Layton and you have Obel Cube. You have a lot of young players coming up, but you really need to replenish that farm system because it's looking really light. You don't want to end up like the Phillies. Different sport, but you don't want to look like the Phillies where 2012, it's like the last good year you have, and you have no good young players in the farm system. So I think the Flyers are doing it the right way, and we'll see how they turn out moving forward. But I like what they were doing in this draft. The fourth round, they went out and got another right wing. Fourth round, 94th overall. Don't want to butcher the name. ZD Wisdom. Hopefully I got that right. If I butchered it, please correct me. You know, the Flyers traded up 116th overall and 147th overall with the Lightning, and they picked him up. So obviously, the Flyers had their minds set on getting some forwards, and I'm happy they did. So we'll see how this turns out for them. But I like the mindset. That being said, let's move on to the Sixers and talk about Doc Rivers and what the Sixers have done with that coaching situation. You know, obviously, Brett Brown here for 7 years, through the process, through the dim years, through the bad years, and through some of the good years in the playoffs. But we weren't able to make it out of the second round. And that was ultimately his downfall. And one of the biggest limitations with Brett Brown was he wasn't able to adjust in the critical moments. Yeah, you brought the defense, you were able to script up things on defense, but you weren't able to script up plays in the big moments. And a lot of people have had their opinions about this, but if Brett Brown was the reason why Jimmy Butler, or one of the reasons why Jimmy Butler didn't re-sign with the Sixers, that's something that really upsets me. Now, that's just speculation. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the front office. I don't know what conversations were had, but that is one of the storylines that made it out where you're not sure about what happened. And that's one of the storylines that hasn't been addressed. Okay. So, and Jimmy Butler had a podcast or an interview where he talked about these things. Okay. And he didn't address it directly, saying that I didn't come back because this person had a conflict of interest with me, or our personalities clashed. But there were a lot of things said in that interview that would suggest that that was the case. And there were a lot of articles that came out that would lend credence to that being what actually happened. And I can't necessarily come up with the words to that I want to say about it, but that's the case. That's a lot of evidence that has come out that is what happened. And unfortunately, we're sitting back looking back at Jimmy Butler in the NBA Finals playing against the Lakers with a team, in my opinion, that is not as talented as the Sixers, but they are very well constructed as a roster. They have a better coach, in my opinion. And I had a conversation with some people, some close friends about Eric Spoelstra. And in my opinion, I thought Eric Spoelstra wasn't a good coach when he first came into the league. And he took over for the Miami Heat when LeBron James and Chris Bosh and whatever, the big three were down there and we're down there trying to get their not one, not two, not three, not four, whatever, how many ever championships they're trying to get. I did not believe in Eric Spoelstra as a coach. I just thought he was a guy that was coming along for the ride, but that has been painfully apparent that he's not. And looking at him year after year after year, him growing as a coach, him in combination with Jimmy Butler, they have built this Heat team into a title contender and somebody to be really reckoned with. Just him and Jimmy Butler alone. Then you add Dragic and Tyler Hero and then Biyombo. You have a really good team. But even with all that, in my opinion, Jimmy Butler, along with Tobias Harris and Embiid and Ben Simmons, way better, dog. Way better. And with a coach like Doc Rivers, way better. So that's something that's always going to be something that makes me angry when I look at this finals. That being said, I'm rooting for them, but let's see what Doc Rivers, even without Jimmy Butler, let's see what Doc Rivers can do with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, because I think he can really make things happen with this team. All right, we all been down the storyline of Ben Simmons and his shooting woes and whether he's going to shoot the ball or not. Look, I've been down to the Delaware Blue Coats. I keep calling them the 87ers. I've been down to the Delaware Blue Coats, blue and white practice, where the Sixers come down and play the Delaware Blue Coats in their scrimmage or whatnot. I was right there during the warm-ups when Ben Simmons and everybody else on the Sixers is shooting the warm-ups, Embiid and all them. And look, Ben Simmons is sitting back there shooting threes and warm-ups. I know it's not a game. I know it's not even practice. I know he's just sitting back, relaxing, shooting threes. He's draining them with his eyes closed, okay? I don't care if somebody is covering you or not. For those people that play basketball, I know you're going to come and say, well, nobody's in his face. Nobody's got their hand up. It doesn't matter. The fact that he's just draining them with his eyes closed and nobody in his face, that should be enough to tell you that he can shoot the three. Now, we've seen him in a game situation. He didn't have tough defense with him. I understand that again, but it was a game situation, not with his eyes closed, not sitting back by himself, just shooting threes, with nobody in his face. No. He had somebody come up somewhat in his face, not really guarding him really, but he got a set shot, got the pass, shot it up, and he drained it like he's done it all his life. Okay. Now, when people get into his face, will he miss some of them? Yes, but the way he's able to sink those shots with nobody in his face, he's draining them like that. Look, if you don't have anybody in your face, you might make 60% of your shots, 70% of your shots. Okay. If you're a really good shooter, he's making those. Okay, if Doc Rivers can't get that out of him, nobody can. So I don't even like the move. I love the move. Okay, get Doc Rivers in there and there, get him in his ear. If he can't get it done with Ben Simmons, nobody can. If Doc Rivers can't get Joel Embiid to get down on the block, play big boy ball, bully ball, treat these guys like little kids and go down in the post and get his points like he's supposed to, nobody can. So that's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think. This is more of a pre-scripted video. Even so, when it comes to Philly sports, I get a little passionate, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Whether you're with the Doc Rivers hire, whether you are on board with the Flyers picks, whether you're on board even with the new GM for the Flyers and the moves he's making. Because some people are big Ron Hextall fans and they don't want to really hear about what's going on with the new GM or what moves the Flyers are making at to this point. So let me know what you guys think. That's it for now. I'm gonna be doing another live stream soon though.